Hey guys, and welcome to this video. Today we are going to be comparing the differences between being a flight attendant in Australia and being a flight attendant in the United States. Today was really cool because I just had a conversation with Flight Attendant Jojo. I'll put all her links down below. She is a flight attendant in the United States and obviously I'm from Australia, so it was a really great conversation being able to compare the differences. So I hope that you guys find this really insightful and really informative, and I hope you enjoy the video. So let's get into it.
Okay, so what have you been doing with like lockdown and what you're like the whole company?
Yeah, lockdown has been like so crazy. So we just hit 246 days in lockdown in Melbourne. Can you believe it? During last year, like my company went through voluntary administration. And so throughout all of like 2020, I like didn't know if I would have a job at the end of it. Like I didn't know if they were going to liquidate or anything like that. So luckily someone did buy the company.
I didn't realize they got bought out.
Yeah, they did.
So then what did that look for you? Because I've seen you go to the airport multiple times.
From March to December 2020, I was on stand down. So I think that's basically like furlough. But during that time, they still kept us current, like with our qualifications and stuff. So I still went to training and stuff. And we have to fly every like 3 months to stay like qualified. So they would put me on like a random flight here and there throughout that period of time. But yeah, December came around and then I just got like a full schedule back.
What is a full schedule for you?
So full schedule is basically 144 hours in a 28-day period. Your eyes are like bulging out of your face. You're like, ah.
That's more than I've ever flown.
Yeah. But our hours are calculated like an hour before we actually take off, and then during our sits, and also after disembarkation. So we get an extra half an hour after disembarkation. So if you're doing a 12-hour day, that's 12 hours for us, if that makes sense. Whereas I don't know, what's it like for you?
So I just did a 12-hour day.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So I did San Diego to Dallas, which was less than 3, but just like about 3. Let's round it up. And then we sat for 3 hours too. So I just got lunch and then did an Oklahoma City turn from Dallas, which was like 30 minutes each, but they'll pay us for what they think it will be. So they booked it at like 50 minutes. So I got paid just 5 hours.
5 hours, yeah.
Today, and I was at work for 12.
Crazy.
And that's not even like getting ready or driving home. That's just like literally from the time I got to the airport to the time I left.
True. So how many hours can you work in like a roster period? Do you have like max hours or anything like that?
Like I like to fly 2 or 3 days a week. And if I'm flying like 5 hours a day only, then I like to fly 40, 50, 60 hours a month. Cause that's just what I like. And I'm able to do it right now. Like a year ago or 2 years ago, I had to fly 90, but this month they forced me to have 90 hours.
What? How do they do that?
They said someone at your seniority has to have at least, I think it was 81 hours. And they gave me, I think it was 69 hours is like what I bid. And they gave me that. But then because I didn't hit the minimum, like the 81, they threw a 4-day trip onto my schedule. So it brought it up to 89 hours. And I was like, because it tells me like, you didn't bid this.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know I didn't.
Yeah. Because they just like had extra trips in the system that they're like, all right, time to give it to the junior people. Is how I think it worked. I mean, I don't really know.
So tell me a bit about like seniority and stuff. Because like, to be honest, we don't really have like seniority. Like,
everyone's equally paid.
I guess there is some seniority. Like you do, the longer you're there, you get paid more. But with biddings and stuff, it's all kind of equal. It kind of just all goes into a bidding system, and then it just kind of spits out whatever you have bidded for. When we like get to the airport and we get assigned like a part on the plane, like a position. It's not like seniority based. I don't know. Is that what it's like in America? Or
Yeah.
It's kind of like,
yeah.
It is, yeah, true. Because we kind of like sit in our briefing. It's like, who wants to go where? And it's like, oh, you go wherever. We kind of just discuss it and kind of
Australians are that chill that they could do that.
Yeah.
Because there'd be a lot of fights.
We have like a manager as well, which is a different role that you can apply for.
Like the manager, the flight attendant?
Yeah, like it's the lead one or something.
Purser or lead flight attendant.
Yeah. So that's kind of what it's like for that position. You would have to kind of apply for it, and it's a higher salary as well.
In Australia, each flight has a manager on it.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And they have like a different uniform, and they serve like business class, and the rest of the cabin crew serve economy.
Yeah. I mean, that would be the one, but I can be the one. Like and I'm not qualified any differently than any of them. The ones that are qualified differently are the pursers, and those are for like our premium flights. So like LA to JFK would be one of those, or our international flights, then you need the purser, just because they're like trained in better customer service because they're flying bigger planes, way more people, and obviously our premium routes. But also because when you get there, they're trained on the hotel and how to get through customs and stuff like that. So, but when we're just flying domestic, we don't have anyone that's more in charge. But so for our seniority, that works like, the first, whoever's been there the longest gets first pick. And then whatever's left over is for anyone below them.
Yeah. Do you pick like the day before, or like how do you pick kind of thing?
So right now it's the 6th, and I just bid whether I was going to do reserve or line. And then I think on the 10th, they announce what trip options you have. And we do it based off of like turns, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. And you can look through and pick, and international or domestic. And then I think on the 14th or 15th, that closes, and then it gets released like 2 days later of what you got. And that's also when you bid what position you want, and you get to pick like what days you want to do those trips on. Right. So it's it's nice because you can go through and like either click all LA, like just say I want all LA, or you can go through and pick like I want to work on the 16th, I want to work on the 20th, what trips are on those days. Yeah. And I don't know how to bid the positions because like for me, for sure, all I can hold is the Airbus 321 and the Boeing 737. Like I'm not flying the 78 or 777. So there's only 4 positions. Yeah. So I'm just like 1 through 4. I don't even try to bid like 1 through 9. I'm like, there's no point.
Yeah.
But then I'll see it take away. Like I'll have bid Bogota or something international, and I'll see it take away like 100 trips. And I'm like, no, I at least wanted those as an option, but I don't know. Yeah. I'm like, there's no point to bid 1 through 9 when I'm for sure not going to hold it anyways. But. Sure. And then if I was on reserve, when I am on a reserve, the day before, that's you can like bid for a trip that is available for the next day. But again, goes to like whoever's more senior. Yeah. And then if you're not senior enough to hold something, you're just on call waiting.
Yeah. Tell me about like how reserve works. Do you get like reserve months or something, or like how does that work?
Yeah. So I get a whole month of being on reserve, and because I'm like 5 years into my company, I am at the point where I get like 3 line months and 1 reserve month. But if I was New York based, like I don't think I would ever even have to serve reserve because they're like all so junior, and then I would be more senior. But since everyone's super senior in Dallas, I'm like the bottom 90%. And I definitely have to do every 3 months go on to reserve. But some people will only do reserve like once a year because they're senior enough where they don't have to.
True. That's so interesting. How it works for us is, well, pre-COVID anyway, we would get perhaps maybe 4 days a roster period that we were on reserve. And usually it was like 2 days on airport reserve and then 2 days on standby from home.
How many hours do you get to be called out when you're at home?
So we get 2 hours notice, but we get like a span of 11 hours at like home, or it's usually 5 hours at the airport. And yeah, obviously at the airport, it's like you basically run to your gate when you get called.
Well, you know who does what you guys do is Delta. I think they get 6 days a month that they go on to reserve.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I kind of like to know, all right.
Yeah.
My reserve month, it's just going to be my reserve month, you know? And then your line month, no one's going to touch you. No one's going to bother you. You don't have to go on call. Like, I don't know. I think I like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like once you get your seniority and stuff, it definitely makes a difference. Like, as you said, one day you'll like have no reserve months, right?
Yeah.
like living the dream.
As long as I'm not based in Dallas forever.
Is that the plan for you or?
No. Oh, I'm not staying here. We just, we don't have any flying in LA right now. Like they took away our Sydney flight.
No way.
Yeah. And like, not a ton of people are going to Hawaii. Hawaii wasn't letting a bunch of people in. And LA does like those flights. Right. Chicago, New York, Miami, Dallas, they get like, I mean, LA gets some South America, but like they're all really getting South America, Europe, and then LA is getting the islands and Australia and Asia, and all those are gone.
Yeah, they're not happening right now.
Yes, so they got rid of me too.
So will there be a way for you to transfer back?
As soon as they get more routes, then they can let more flight attendants into the base. And as soon as I see my seniority is like getting into the base, then I'll apply. And when like our lease works out that I can. Or if not, I don't know, like Chicago, I could go to Europe and do all those fun trips. So I just don't feel like I have that flexibility at all in Dallas. I'm like, I kind of want to go to New York for a year, do something where there is better flying, but you get it. Being married, you're not just going to like pick up and go move for better flying.
No, I totally get that. Yeah.
Okay. So you have a manager on every flight. So is that like your actual manager, or do you have an actual manager?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I do have an actual manager, and they manage like 50 to 100 crew or whatever, and they're like my person I go to, but the manager is just there like to manage the flight, if that makes sense. So like if something was to happen, of course, like we can still deal with it, but if, you know, someone needs that authoritative person to, I don't know, tell them to put a mask on or something. And they do a lot of liaising with the flight crew as well. So when it comes to like procedural stuff, but yeah, my manager is usually just on the ground. I think they fly like a couple times a year just to keep themselves current, but yeah, mostly they're in the office. Yeah, do you have your own managers and stuff as well? Or?
Yeah, but I've never met them in person.
Really?
Like I've met some of them in person, but my current one I have not met in person. So how many hours are you allowed to work a day? Like I'm allowed to work 15.
15, like scheduled in your roster, or
like
with delays?
I'm available to them, for 15 hours, and then after that I'm done.
Wow. Okay. So originally it was 10 hours, but since we have been bought out by another company and stuff, they've changed some of the rules. So now it's 12 hours. So we can be rostered up to 12 hours on our roster. But if there are delays and weather or engineering problems or anything like that, then our day can stretch to 14 hours. Is that similar to you, or like
do you have like be rostered for 13?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And then we are done. We can be like, no, I'm going to a hotel. Like, you have to get me a hotel at 15.
And is there a certain amount of flights you can do a day, or like how does that kind of work?
Yes, I think there's like a max of 5 flights.
Yeah, so it's similar to us. Like we can only do 5 flights if we are like deadheading one of them, but we can't like work 5, if that makes sense. And if we're doing like a 12-hour day, we can only be rostered 2 flights, so we can't exceed more than that. But I've only ever worked for like 4 flights in a day.
Oh, okay.
Before, so
at regional, I think I for sure like 5, 6, 7 probably. But at mainline, I've definitely only done 4 max.
And are there different like conditions with like international flights and domestic flights, or like how does that kind of work?
If it's international, there's way more of a limit, but then it's like we have Mexico, so that's called non-international premium. Yeah, so like you have to cross a certain amount of water for it to be considered proper international.
Right.
So we have like 3 categories, one of just like domestic, non-international premium, and then international, which would be like Europe or Australia.
Yeah, come here, please.
That would be so nice. A year in LA and I never got to fly Sydney.
No way. Oh, hopefully that happens soon. And you said you're on 2 aircrafts, the 737 and the A321?
Yeah, so I'm qualified on a couple. We used to have more. Like during COVID, we took away a ton of our airplanes. Like I came back and the 7.5 was gone, the 7.6 was gone. There's another airplane that I was never qualified on that they took away. So now I'm pretty sure, and don't quote me, even though this is being recorded, the 7.8 and then the 777 and the 737 and then the Airbuses. There's like 3 configurations that we have that I'm qualified on. But what about you?
So I'm just qualified on the 737. That's currently the only aircraft that we have. Well, like they have them, but they're not using them obviously because of COVID and stuff. But they did have the 777 and an Airbus A320 or 30. But yeah, I was still only qualified on the 737.
Okay, so then you're totally different in the sense that I can just pick up international, whatever, they can assign me that and be on whatever airplane. So for you, that's totally different.
Yeah, so it's totally different. So if I was wanting to go for like an international role, I would have to apply basically for another job within my airline and go through the whole process again of the job interview and stuff, and to get the job to fly internationally. But I'm currently a short haul international flight attendant, so I can do like the short flights like the Balis or the New Zealands or Vanuatu and like the islands around Australia. But if I was wanting to do like the LAs or something, then that's what you'd have to do. I think that's because in Australia there's different regulations in terms of long haul and domestic. So I kind of share with you some of the regulations, like we can't work this many hours and stuff. I think that's different with international, and there's different requirements. So like if they're working more than 10 hours, they can sleep for 5 hours or something like that. Yeah, and I think that's why they separate it all. But it's a bit sad that I can't just like, go to Paris for the weekend or like
in Paris.
Yeah.
Because I've done that. I'm like, I'm 5 minutes from the airport. I see you're missing a flight attendant. I will be there.
Yeah. That's the best.
So I've only ever done one international flight, and that was to Bali, to Denpasar. And that was because I was on airport. They needed a flight attendant like straight away, and so they just called me and was good to go. So
that's nice. How long are your layovers then, and where is your favorite layover?
So our layovers can be a minimum of 12 hours.
Ours is 8.
8 hours? Well, I need like 9 hours of sleep.
Same. Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. So that's the minimum. And then my favorite layovers probably, I love Tasmania. Tasmania is like beautiful. And I also love anywhere in Queensland because I'm in Melbourne and it's a bit chilly sometimes. In Queensland, like the sun's always shining and it's always beautiful there. But yeah, that's just in Australia anyway. Do you have like a favourite layover?
Yes. My favorite layover would be anything that I can't afford. And a hotel in.
Yeah.
So like I love going to New York or Chicago, any of the international, because you're like, who gets to go to Paris for one day? And then for sure I was Miami based and we go to all the islands, and that was so fun to just like see everywhere, like Jamaica for just the evening or St. Kitts for sunrise. Yeah.
Stunning.
That was my favorite, but that's not what I fly though.
Yeah.
I can't even like touch a Chicago layover or New York in Dallas. Like, why does everyone want to go?
I should have worn my uniform or something. Hey, sorry.
I was going to change out of mine and I'm like, I'm not it. I can't move.
Yeah.
So you guys get to wear your hair down. We have to wear our hair up.
No, we do not.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Oh, true. Okay.
No, I'm at home.
Yeah, fair enough.
Unless you had hair to like here, I think you can wear your hair down.
Yeah, that's
which some girls like before training, they cut off their hair because they thought flight attendants had to have short hair.
Really?
And they got to training and found out that you could like put it in a bun. Do you guys have to wear makeup?
Yeah, we have to wear like foundation, mascara, blush. They've just changed that we have to wear lipstick anymore. We can wear lip gloss. And we have to have our nails done as well, like either red, nude, or just like nicely manicured, like natural. But yeah, do you guys have to wear makeup?
No.
No, that's so good.
Yeah, nothing at all. Yeah, if you don't want. With those 8-hour layovers.
Yeah.
Better not have high expectations.
Yeah.
Okay, how long was your training?
It was for 5 weeks and 1 day. What about you?
I think it was 6 weeks.
6 weeks?
But I think they've shortened it. Like it used to be 8 weeks. Then I think I was at 6 weeks. And then I think maybe they brought it down to 5 weeks, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on it. Yeah. Someone leave in the comments what it actually is.
Yeah, I think that's because I was only being trained on one aircraft.
Yeah, we don't really get trained on services, like for any of our drink services, stuff like that, which we got trained on like Asia and international a bit, but everything else was just like you click through a video and see how it's done, but it's not necessarily like you spent weeks learning how to do a drink service.
We had like one week was service related. So just in regards to like jewelry and stuff, I noticed you wear like necklaces and things. Like, are you allowed to wear certain jewelry? Like, what are the requirements in terms of that?
I believe it's 2 fingers on each hand, and you can have as many like wedding rings as you want. These are the earrings that I wear. They can't be like bigger than a quarter, I believe. And like jewelry, I think you can have a necklace or 2. Maybe. I don't know. I wear what I'm feeling that day.
Yeah. Everyone else does it. So it's all good.
And then bracelets, I think it just can't be like dangly, where it's if you're gonna hit someone with it, you walk through the aisle. But are yours strict?
Yeah, they're pretty strict. In terms of earrings, we can't wear any hoops or anything like that. They have to be studs. And if they're studs, they have to be like either pearls, like just round gold, or silver round balls. We can't wear necklaces, bracelets. We can wear rings. So like, obviously wear my wedding ring. I think it's a similar thing, like 2 on each hand or something like that. And then you can, of course, wear a watch, but sometimes they're a bit picky with watches as well.
So you're not required to wear a watch?
We are required to wear a watch, but it's just like some watches aren't approved. For instance, you can't have a watch with like bedazzled, I don't know, gems on it and things like that. Yeah. But you're required to wear a watch as well?
Yeah, for CPR. know how long someone's been unconscious.
Yeah.
So it has to count the seconds is like our rule.
Yeah, okay. Ooh, so interesting, hey. Oh, tell me about like staff travel, because I'm a bit jealous that you guys like get really good staff travel, hey.
So I personally, we have like a US America flight attendant jump seat agreement that I can fly on any airline in the US that I want to for free.
That's amazing. That is so amazing.
Marcus can pay like a discounted rate or something like that.
True. And do you get like buddy passes, or like how does that work?
Then we get our parents, we get a companion. So whoever you want to be your companion, and they have very similar benefits to you. Like me, my parents have worse benefits than my companion. You can make literally anyone your companion, and they did change it. It used to be when I got hired, if you were married, you had to have your spouse, but now you don't have to have your spouse as your companion.
Oh, that's good. So if you want to go on a girls' trip or something, just pop them down.
But they have to stay for the year. So anyone you put on your travel passes has to stay for a whole year. I got like friend passes on my airline, but usually it's better to just buy a ticket. And I get only a certain amount of them. So
fair enough.
Like a handful or something.
Yeah.
How about
That's
you?
similar.
Yeah, similar to us, but we don't get free flights on any like aircraft or any company, which that's amazing that you get that. We get like heavily discounted rates from our airline and also partner airlines. So if our airline has some sort of deal with another airline that's international or anything like that, then we can get cheaper rates on theirs. And we get one companion as well, and they can stay for 6 months. And then we get 6 family members that we can put down, and they can stay for 6 months as well. And then we get a bunch of buddy passes as well that we can give to friends or family or whoever. So but I've never like not gotten on a flight as well, like when I'm traveling standby. I think that's because you have to pay for it.
So you book the seat, like you paid for a seat?
Yeah, so there's 2 ways of doing it. You can like book out a seat, which means that seat's not available to be sold to the general public. So you have a higher chance of getting on. That's kind of a bit of a higher rate. And then there's the really cheap like dirt rate, like, I don't know, $40 or something to fly to Sydney. And that's basically standby. So if there is a spare seat on the aircraft, then you get that.
And if you're not
I do.
Yeah, that's what and if you're not in uniform, you can't sit in the jump seats or anything like that. So yeah, jump seats are kind of off limits.
So I can't fly in the jump seat on other airlines, but I can fly in the jump seat on our airline just as long as I'm not wearing like shorts or something or flip-flops. And then when I go to Australia, I will fly Sydney to Melbourne standby, and I'll just wait in the terminal. And I've definitely missed like 3 flights. Trying to get to Melbourne or Sydney. But I do find that there are like most of the time we'll make it. Just because there's so many flights.
Yeah, literally Sydney to Melbourne is the second busiest flight route in the world. So like literally there's like pre-COVID there was a flight leaving every like 10-15 minutes. So like would you fly normally with Qantas or like?
So I can fly anyone that's a part of my code shares.
Right, gotcha.
Yes. And so can Marcus.
Yeah, so good.
And Marcus and I will then get the same rate. So he's taken Cathay from Melbourne to Hong Kong, and then I flew my airline from Chicago to Hong Kong, and we just met up.
No way.
So that was awesome. But we can't get upgrades on our code shares.
Right, okay. Oh, tell me about the COVID pandemic in terms of like you being furloughed and things like that. Like how was that experience?
So at the beginning, I would say June, July, August of 2020, they were allowing us to take leaves, and I did that. And then I came back and there was like not a lot of passengers and not a lot of flying. Like really that's what it came down to, is like they didn't have any flights for us. They took away a bunch of their flights and they requested that we take leaves, or they'd give us some pay to take leaves. Then we got furloughed and I was totally off for indefinitely. Wasn't contacted, didn't have to go to training. They say like after 3 years or something, then you have to do your whole training again, like you're a new hire. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And so I was like, I hope this doesn't last 3 years.
Yeah.
But then we came back, and like the US came back full force. So the vaccine came out, or people were just fed up, and flights were on like back to normal. So we're back to full capacity and needing all of our flight attendants and more, and all of our pilots and more. So that is currently where we're at. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I think we only got to like 75% capacity, and then it went back down to like 25 because of the lockdowns and stuff. But yeah, hopefully it'll be back soon. We'll see.
I was on one of those full flights to the Gold Coast.
Oh, wait, yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like, no more flights.
Yeah.
Everyone back in their homes.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to leave.
Yeah, I know. You're so lucky you got out at like the perfect time. Like,
seriously.
So once a month, or like, I've seen you at the airport multiple times in the past 3 months.
Yeah.
What are you doing there?
Yeah, so I have like an office job as well. It's like another role within my airline, and I'm like an audio to visual developer for the training department. So I like create the videos for training and do all this video stuff that they present at training. So when they explain the different procedures and stuff like that, I go to the aircraft and film the procedures, make a video, and then that gets presented at training. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing. And because I'm not flying as much, I've been doing that role a lot, which has kind of been a saving grace. Usually I'll do like half flying, half in the office, but the last couple of months I've just been basically doing all my time in the office, and like one flight here or there.
That's cool, because it still keeps you in touch and not. I'm like, what's an airplane? What's an airline? Yeah. When I came back.
Yeah, oh my gosh, how do I open this door? Like,
yeah, totally get it.
But it's been a really fun role. I've been really enjoying it. So cool. Well, yeah, I think that's all the questions I have as well. Thank you for doing this. It's been really fun, and
yeah, I'm really
it's fun to learn about other airlines and like hearing your favorite layovers and
definitely.
It sounds very similar, except for the whole like just show up to work and decide which position you're working.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that it was helpful for you. And if you did like it, do the things, hit subscribe and give me some love. And I will see you guys in my next video.